Hey, what's up guys? It's your boy the Fice back at it with another video. Actually, it's been a really long time since I've done a video. I've been doing a lot of streams, basically because I had my whole setup kind of reworked with a new computer and an old computer, but I wanted to make this guide for Yu-Gi-Oh Duel Links because I haven't done one yet, and I think a free-to-play guide would be really important for a lot of people that really want to enjoy this game but also not invest money in it because they're not able to, or a variety of reasons. So I think this is going to be really beneficial to a lot of people like that, and I want to talk about a lot of cool ways on how you can get gems, what you can do as techniques to actually play this game longer, and kind of reap as much rewards as you can to actually do some cool stuff in this game. But before we get it started, if you really do like the content that I do, definitely be sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, follow us on Twitch, join us on Discord. It's the best community ever. We stream on Twitch and YouTube at the same time. Also, we don't have YouTube monetization, so check out the YouTube description below. We have an Etsy storefront, we have coffee mugs and t-shirts, and more things on the way. But let's get into this content. I really want to talk about some of the key things that when you first starting to play this game that you actually don't realize on how you can get some simple gems. So let's start talking about some of the basic things. So the first thing I want to talk about is the environment in this game actually has interactions with it, and each section, there's 4 rooms in total. If you interact with certain parts of it, you get gems. So if you interact with the garbage, you can potentially get 3 gems. If you interact with the top of the storefront, we're gonna actually get some gems here. We sometimes get 3, we sometimes get 1. You can actually get around like 12 gems if you're lucky, but I click them throughout the day like 3 to 4 times and see what's happening, if I could get something. If you click over here, this light, there's potential to get something. It shows like a rainbow effect. And also if you click on this waterfall, you get there's a potential chance to get it. So each time throughout the day, just click on those. You get 3 gems here, 3 gems here, 1 gem here, 1 gem here. Before you know, you actually get a decent amount of gems just by doing that. The other piece that I want to mention is watching replays. If you start tallying that up, you already get around like 10 to 15 gems if you start stacking them. So right here, you see in the red, it says you can get 5 gems for watching 1 replay. So we're just going to do that really quick so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And I could kind of start talking about some more stuff. The other cool thing about watching this, especially when you're beginning, is you kind of get to see some compositions on some people do on high level ranked matches. So if you really don't know any team compositions, or you're playing maybe someone that has this type of composition, you want to see how they counter certain things, you can get an idea of what's going on when they start dropping the cards. You can also click on the right over here to kind of fast forward it, because that's essentially, I really just want to get the gems at this point. But sometimes I see some very interesting cards that I've never seen playing before. Like this is the perfect example. Like I've never actually seen anyone play Machina Fortress, so it's cool to kind of see some of these things. But I see, you know, I've seen the card reload a few times. Fortune Fairy I actually unlocked from one of the duelists, and I think it's 5DS recently, so that's actually cool. I think the match is about to be over. Let's see. It did start to pick up, so you heard the stuff go. The next thing I definitely do want to talk about besides that is there's another area where you can actually get gems that if you don't pay attention, you can miss the opportunity. So it's also known as loner decks. So we just finished that. Loner decks, there's a daily section where you can do a loner duel and you can get 5 gems. So I'm going to show you. So you see we got 5 gems here. So that's a cool way to get some gems there right now. And we're going to go over here, click on this little card with the chick. And if we go to loner deck, sometimes it's keys, sometimes it's gems. So always keep in mind about this. But getting 7 keys also isn't bad, especially when they're colorful keys, because if you look at the trader over here, let's go to this guy. This guy, essentially, if you go all the way to the keys, it's super expensive to get 10 of those keys. It costs 100 of the regular keys just to get 10. So you can tell how expensive these keys are for. Now, if you're asking what these keys are really for, these keys are for dueling more on the legendary duelist, which is in this gate right here. I'll explain this a little later on, but I just kind of wanted to touch on all the quick ways you can kind of get daily gems. The other part that I want to mention about getting daily gems is usually when there is an event, kind of like Turbo Duel, you can see up here in this top little area, there's usually daily quests that you can accomplish. So if you click on the mission section and you see over here in events, if you just do 3 duels, you don't even have to win. You get 50 gems just right off the bat, which is really nice to kind of do. So you get, if you start tallying all these up, if we said we got 15 gems just by doing all those things of watching the replays, clicking on the events, and then doing the dailies over here, you already just right off the bat get around 65 gems just by doing that random stuff, which is absolutely amazing. Now, the next piece I definitely want to mention when you're doing free to play, which is really important, is obviously paying attention to your meter over here. This meter starts to gets filled up, you know, as time passes or whatever. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 duelist slots, standard duelist slots, and you can fill this up. Like, this increases over time by completing missions, like completing world missions. I forgot what number it was in this duel world, but I remember when I got really high on the regular duel world, and you guys can put it in the comments to let the people watching as well. When I got, I think, up to like mission 15 here, and then mission 15 on what is it, Dimension, DSOD, that's when I was able to get, I think the count increased significantly more by 2. I think by default you start around 7 or something. So that's something to be mindful from a free-to-play standpoint. You want to do those early missions to kind of get those things. And the other piece that I definitely will talk about later is that when you complete the missions, like all the missions for one stage level, you get 50 gems. You could actually get more from that. But that's how you increase this specific gauge, so to speak. You just deal with more duelists. The other piece I definitely do want to mention, guys, is we already talked about how we have this gate over here to kind of use the keys to, you know, spam dealing with duelists. But I want to talk about that I check every 3 hours. Every 3 hours or so, you get the potential to fight the duelist in this world. And by doing that, you get the chance to get their PvP skills, their legendary PvP skills, but you also get the capability of also getting gems out of it just by doing that, and also leveling up. If you see over here on the right, you can tell that these are some of the key cards that this guy will give us that we can unlock. And if you just check over here, I actually don't have all his cards. I'm missing like a few of them. So you do get some cards just by dueling the legendary duelist. But you do want to battle this because this is free experience points. Dueling a legendary duelist does not contribute to using one of these character points. So that's an important thing. So if you look at it from here, we have currently 6 worlds available. That means that if every like 3 hours you check to deal with a legendary duelist, you're getting 500, 1,000. So that would be 3,000 experience points each time, which is really good. So dealing with like 6 legendary duelists, you get 3,000 experience points. That's a lot of experience points to actually get for the duelist that you're grinding with. So always keep that in mind. The other piece, if you're doing free to play, because you do care about getting as many duels as you can, is being mindful of this meter right here. You definitely want to always have this meter ticking. You don't want it to be capped out. I think by the time that we drop it all the way down, it takes around 3 hours and something to fill up, somewhere around that range. I forget the exact amount, and I don't want to use the whole time to kind of show you that. But getting this free experience is really useful, especially when you're trying to just build a card deck. Doing that. The other piece is also you deal with these vagabonds. These vagabonds give you a lot of good experience. Now, what I want to mention here, which is super important, is that when you're dealing with vagabonds, you definitely want to use the items here. And the main item in particular that I really want you to focus on specifically for vagabonds is the EXP booster. Because if you use the EXP booster on other duelists, you only get 250. But if you deal with a vagabond, Win or lose, loss, you get like 450, I think. And then win, you get around 900 more experience points. So it's super important. So what I'm going to do here right now, so you guys can see this, is because I want the win to happen, I'm going to also increase the boost. And I actually think I need this card. I don't think I have this card available. It says a pickup card. You can potentially get it. The chance of it happening is very low. But I'm still going to do result booster, EXP booster. Extra life really doesn't help that much, but I mean the extra card really does, so I'm gonna do that, and I'll just use them all together. I really like using the resources specifically for the Vagabond because I want to get the most EXP I can get from it. So that's the real reason why I do it, guys. So we're gonna do that really quick so you guys can see what you get out of it. But like I said, don't use the EXP gem on any of the other duelists because you only get 250, and if you lose, I think it's 120. I don't know, it turns into half, so it's not even worth it. But you could tell that the extra card buff we got here was Magic Cylinder. I do not have Magic Cylinder in my setup, so they basically just gave it to me to kind of help me out. So hopefully we can get something. We're dealing with a Yasenju deck right now. Okay. I think we actually got this. Yep. He used the, so he used the Kite Roid to negate the attack, so basically we didn't take any damage. But I think this is over. Yep, we're done. Okay. And guys, I will do a separate guide on the deck I'm using. It's a really simple free-to-play deck, very cheap. So I'll do a separate guide on that, but I really wanted to talk about this. But you see here as a perfect example, look how much plus experience we got. So we got 2,000 from the Vagabond, just dueling and beating him. And then we got an extra 1,000 from using the gem. So that's why. So it's literally 3,000 on just that one duel. So definitely use the gems here in this case. It really helps you out. You can grind faster, which is going to lead us to the next point, which is grinding for gems with duelists. Now, it's super important, guys, that, you know, you unlock as many of the duelists you possibly can so you can get so many gems so you can buy cards. And this really helps because, like, if you start counting this, you start losing track on how many thousands you can get. I don't want to do the math here because it will take a very long time for me to start doing an assessment here. But it looks like you get around maybe 2,000 to 3,000, yeah, maybe 2,000 to 3,000 probably gems on this, I think. Because here's already like 450, 550, 750, 8, 1,000, 1,250, 1,450, 1,750, 2,200. We're already around like the 2,000 to 300 range. I don't want to take any more time, but you get a lot of gems just by grinding, specifically also in the duel, the original world, because the original world, all the duelists go up to level 45, which is really big, guys. That's really huge to keep in mind for. So when you're looking at all the duelists to unlock just for the first world, you get a ton of gems. So it's super important to just kind of farm them. What I tend to do, guys, is I farm with one of them, get them up to like level 15, go to the next one, level up to 15, so on and so forth, because it's fast to get the gems that way. So I kind of go through them in iterative processes just like that. So definitely grind these duelists to get as much as you can. Now, since we kind of talked about grinding that aspect, now I want to talk about the mission, the stage missions, which is really important. And there's a interesting technique from a free-to-play standpoint when you want to be able to keep grinding, but you know, you're limited because of the standard duelist meter. So what I tend to do, guys, is I tend to do the missions to the point where I'm about to complete them. And then when I'm about to complete them, I actually stop. Then I go to the next world. And then I do the missions for that one. And then when I get there, I stop. So then basically what this does, and I'm going to show you in a little bit, guys, is it resets your duelist meter. So what does that mean? That means that if you wanted to grind this all the way down and then basically complete the world, you get another refill of all the duelist worlds. So it's a very interesting technique to kind of use, not only get more keys so you can use that legendary duelist gate, but it also allows you to level up so much faster. So it's important to be cognizant of, you know, having those extra world completions available to you, so then whenever you want to spam it to level up and get a lot of gems, you can kind of do that. Oh my god, that was such a bad thing right now. This dude almost took us out. Now, the thing with doing red dragons on auto, yes, there will be a chance that sometimes it may not succeed, but most of the time it does succeed, so you're good. So there. Now, while we're also dealing with going through this, I did want to explain something really important, and it's about the reward multiplier. And if you've been watching me do it, you've been noticing that maybe I've been doing it a certain way, and that's because most of the time, usually successfully, if depending on what deck you're kind of using, if you're doing something that has XYZ summies, so on and so forth, you will get a score of 4,000. If you're doing the multiplier by 2, that means you're going to get 2 rewards for every 1,000 points. So you're going to get, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to fill it up to already 8. So I never go over more than 2, because if you go over than 3, then you're not getting more treasures. And I actually just like to be able to go to the maximum and then go to the next thing, so on and so forth. You see, here's the legendary duelist. We kind of showed that before, that the meter doesn't fill up. I don't want to do that again. I want to actually show the other part that I'm talking about. So we're going to continue draining this, but look here at the bottom. You see me go for ×2, because ×2 will still has a good potential chance of going up to 4,000. And if I wanted to, hypothetically, use the result booster just to kind of do that, I can. But I wouldn't use it on this. Like I said, I would be using it on other things. I would be using it, like, if I wanted, if I was dealing with a legendary duelist in the world at level 40, I would basically use the result booster to potentially have a higher chance of getting a really difficult card on the list. Like, that would be another potential chance of using the result booster. But I like using the result booster if I don't have a card specifically in the when I'm dealing with a vagabond. I like using the EXP items when I'm fighting a vagabond, so on and so forth. Followed by that extra, what is it called? That extra card gem. The extra life is kind of whatever. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But you see here, perfect example. So this is an example of where this was very weird, because the multiplier should have went up to 8. But you see that it's already almost at 7. If I had it at ×3, then it would have been really bad here. So that's one of the things I wanted to... Oh, I put a result booster. I didn't realize I did that. That's why. We're almost there. I'm going to do it one more time. And also click those exclamation points randomly throughout the day, guys, and you'll get some really good keys, and then they'll eventually stack up, which will lead to the next thing that I'll eventually talk about. But what I wanted to show here at this point was, now we're about to drain the standard duelist meter, and we're going to reset it. So this is what I wanted to show you. And I'm leveling up this guy because this guy gives gems. Not because anything... Like, you can see the next level is 22, and that's 100. So now we're going to go here. And what I'm going to do is, like, obviously you have if you have a lot of orbs. But because I have 6 worlds, and if I haven't shown you yet, all my worlds I have already set up where I can, you know, I can reset whenever I want. So what I will do, and I have a lot of legendary duelists, as you can see, that I have to complete for each world. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to reset it for this last world that we're doing. They introduced pendulums, which is absolutely amazing. But now look, my meter completely filled, and I got 50 gems out of it. Now, the cool thing about completing these is sometimes there's missions here that give you another 30 gems. So you're not necessarily just getting 50 gems. You're getting 80 in total. So it's really good to be mindful of that. So now I could use, you know, win two. Basically, a lot of these win conditions are very different. And I'll probably do a separate guide on legendary duelists and maybe completing the missions. What are some of the cool techniques? Whatever. If you guys have questions on that, I'll complete it. I'll discuss that. But like, you get 80 gems just by completing that. That's absolutely amazing. So there's some ways that you can get free gems. And now, because of that, I'm gonna just straight up auto battle really quick. Just because I have to have that ticking down. I still got to do all the legendary things. Now, completed that. And like I said, if you do those missions when there's an event on PvPing and just doing 3 duels every day, you get so many. There is also, and I completed it, I'm sorry, unfortunately, if you go to the missions section again, if you go to the special tab, I already completed the weekly missions, but the weekly missions is like, hey, do 5 PvP duels. You get gems there. So you get a significant amount of gems just from the week and also the events on a daily level. So if you just multiply this, so it's 50 gems a day. If you multiply that by 7, that's already like 100, 200, 350 gems just by that. And that's, let's see, 5, 10, that's 50. That's 7 packs times 3, so that you get around 21 cards just by doing this little stuff. That's excluding when you're doing the duelist grind for you know, all the duelists in the world. Here they introduced the new world, and there's already 4 duelists here that they introduced. And then there's also events that introduce new duelists. So like if we go to the GX event, there was a Supreme King Jaden event that just came out. And then this character that goes up to level 5 has all these gems that you can get. So unlocking the duelists are super important. So you can tell here, like, I have a lot of duelists to unlock to get more gems. And if you go to the mission world, you can see that over here it says, hey, do this to do all these missions to unlock Dr. Crowler or whatever. And then, you know, Jesse and I forget their Truesdale, Cy Truesdale, I forget. I think it's Cy, yeah. But there's so many gems you can unlock just by getting those. So I know PvPing in the beginning will be super brutal, but if you're doing this kind of helps you out. The other thing that I was talking about earlier, there's also another event that actually was happening at the same time with Turbo Duel. And that is the bingo cards. The bingo cards, they sometimes every couple of weeks show these, and you know, when you do the amount of rows for each challenge here, you get so many gems from them. So it's like really cool that you kind of get it. So you kind of get like, you get a little more than this, because the thing is, you also get some from each box. And I remember seeing 5 gems here, 5 gems here, 5 orbs here. So besides the lines alone and completing, you also get some other gems. So I think you get like around 60 to 70 gems just by doing this alone. So they release it like every couple of days. So there's going to be another sheet that's going to be available on October 19th. And I've been doing this recording for the free-to-play stuff on the 18th. So basically tomorrow night, like 12 o'clock, it's going to release some cool stuff. So we're going to able to get more gems out of it. So you get 5 bingo sheets. Multiply that by 70, decent amount of gems you get right over there. So that's 7, 140, you know, 210, 280, 350, another 350 gems here. Just, I'm kind of ballparking this so you can kind of get an idea from a free-to-play aspect of what you can get from all these. And like I said, if you're able to, from a free-to-play aspect, you probably aren't if you're starting to play. But if you did this event, and there's easier events than PvP events, because I actually personally love the player versus environment events, because then you can go at your own pace. There's some events in this game that you can just spam infinitely. It doesn't matter about standard duelist meter, nothing. You can assist people on helping them take down bosses, and then you reach so many rewards. But the important part is you can do infinite EXP grinding, experience grinding for duelists, and you get so many gems just by doing that. You can grind like a duelist up to level 30 or 40 just by spamming it. So I do love when those events drop. But this one is specifically a PvP one, so if you can do it, it's awesome. And then before you know it, you start getting a lot of gems just by completing this, as you can kind of see over here throughout this whole thing. So and then there's like some free little rewards here. Sometimes when you do that, oh my god, the classic reset. The classic reset while we're trying to do this. But sometimes what you can do there is you can do a free lottery run on the events, which most events that they have that lottery aspect, and you'll get like a gem or 2, or you'll get 5 gems out of it, so on and so forth. I hope this rolls so you guys can see me get that. You see, there you go. We just got a gem or 5 gems, whatever it is. But if you start adding that all up on a daily level, it's a decent amount of gems. It's a decent amount of gems that you actually get out of this. So we kind of discussed some of those key points over there, and I know I've been kind of talking a lot about the stuff that we do. But the other piece that I do want to talk about here is this loner deck that I was kind of hinting on. You see the dual quizzes here? So if you go through the first ones, and I think I completed all of them. Sorry guys. So let's go to dual quiz 2. You see how you get 15 here? That's a lot of gems that they also start you with just by doing it. I didn't even complete them, which is funny. If I go over here, now you go to 15. I think, yeah, so there's that one. And then I think the last one, Loner Duels, the top one, you get like regular. You click the regular tab here. There's 30 a pop. Don't disconnect us. Don't disconnect us. Work with us. Yeah, you see? And it teaches you about decks. This is the other cool thing. So like, look how many gems you get just by doing these. Significant amount of gems. So then by the time you're ready, guys, you're able to have so many things to work with. And also keep in mind, guys, when you unlock duelists, you also do get cards. Most of the cards are trash, but a lot of the cards they do have available, like you'll get a UR from time to time, which is actually really awesome. So when you're unlocking duelists, sometimes it's beneficial and it helps you out. But so many free gems that you guys have at your disposal, guys, when it comes to it. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're like me, you want to get the gems as much as possible. And it does make it a little bit difficult. But, I mean, over time, if you keep going and you can go into you can focus on getting a fixed deck. I try to do that, but not really, because if a deck all of a sudden, or I should say like something you're building gets nerfed really bad, you kind of got pigeonholed. But sometimes it's good to kind of work in that route, and it's important to do that, because the next thing I want to definitely talk about is the store, which is something that you have to be mindful of, and I want to tell you guys that this is really important, guys. So if we go into the store really quick, there's actually a lot of sales that are happening in this. And this isn't sales necessarily from a money standpoint. This is sales from a gem standpoint. So when you're free to play and you're trying to focus on trying to save as many gems as possible, if you go to the boxes, they usually tell you the notifications over here on the right, but there's sales not for these new decks or close to new decks, but everything after Valhalla Calling right now. Like I'll show you right now. If you go to Valhalla Calling, regular packs is like, if I had enough for a 10 pack, 500 gems for 10 pack, which means 50 gems a pack. But everything below that, guys, is 25 gems a pack. It's on a super huge discount. So instead of needing to pay like, you know, 9,000 gems to go through a whole box of 180 cards, it actually is half that now. It's 4,500. So going through some of these old packs when you're building a deck is actually not a bad idea. It's actually something I'm doing right now. I've been going really hardcore. If you see some of these, like I actually completed this this thing. There was a sale here where it was like 99 cents and you get 3 cards in a UR. I was like, I need to get that. just to see what I would pull, and I forgot what I pulled. I think I pulled that card or another one, but yeah, I'm not going anywhere further on that. So all these decks, the mini boxes here, the big boxes, all these have this discount of 25 gems a pack, and there's some really good cards here to build a deck, guys. Like, so everything from like 21 down, but I'm not saying you go to these old ones, because these old ones are kind of deprecated, but some of these newer boxes over here like before Valhalla Calling are something that you might want to invest to if you want to build a certain deck or whatever. So so when you're trying to save funds on this from a free-to-play aspect, this is really good. Like Blazing Row has Vermilion Dragon Mech. I know a lot of Blue Eyes decks that actually rock this. This is really good. I actually have a Gaia deck. I call it Dark Magaia deck. I use this a lot to summon 2 Dark Magicians as a trap when they do some stuff. This card is really good, and then when it goes to the graveyard, you can decide to use this to negate the activation of something they do if your magicians are out on the field, which they are going to be out on the field after you do this. That with the combination of Magical Circle is just really amazing. But there's a lot of cool cards here, guys, that you can kind of do to kind of have some fun, but I did want to mention that. But if you're on a free-to-play aspect, guys, the really important thing here is to really look at these decks. These structured decks, a lot of them are really strong in the sense that they give you some of the things that you kind of need to really kill some stuff. Like my Gaia deck, I actually just needed to go 3 times into it, which was like 1,000 gems just to kind of get this 3 times, because of the combination that you wanted to kind of do to get this Gaia the Magical Knight, followed by Cursed of Dragonfire. But you can get Cursed of Dragonfire from another box, so on and so forth. But if you were trying to conserve and get some really cool stuff, like this UR card, this extra deck card is absolutely amazing. This extra deck card is absolutely amazing. This field spell card is so good. There's just a lot of cards here that really help you to kind of get really strong. Same thing with like a Stardust deck. The Stardust deck, you're really kind of trying to get these Junk Synchrons. These Junk Synchrons are really good. They work in combination with Stardust Dragon, followed by like what is it called? The combination of Junk Converter, and it tells you here that this deck like works specifically really good with the Shooting Star Road skill that duelist has. Same thing with the Gaia deck. This deck particularly works really well with the Dragon Knight Path skill that Yugi, Yami Yugi, and Yugi from the DSOD set. There's actually 3 Yugis that you can play with that have this, which is really cool, which is why I love this deck, because I leveled them up in PvP using this deck, which is awesome. There's some decks, obviously, like the Red Eyes deck that I like to use for auto grinding, that it's not really a skill specific set, but it's really nice. I think I only went one into it, but something I wanted to tell you from a free-to-play aspect, that when you're trying to grind really fast, the Red Eyes deck really just kills things quickly, so that's why it's a good deck to kind of have. So yeah, so when you're doing free-to-play and you're trying to figure out what to go for next, it's definitely cool to keep in mind of these little sets here. They really do help you. Not all of them are absolutely amazing when you're first starting out, but you know, like the Red Eyes would be really good for you as a beginner thing, I would tell you. So that's the one thing there I wanted to tell you about that. Since you're dealing with free to play, these are things that really are not up your alley, so I really don't want to go over these. But if you did want to, you know, get some really good cards and you were gonna get some fun and you were gonna put some funds out of it, these bundles are really nice, because they make you go into the new deck that just came out, but you also by default get the card that's featured here. And those card features are actually pretty nice. They're actually really good. But I know this is a free-to-play guide, so. But if you were thinking about maybe getting some of these cards that are exceptional, this actually isn't bad, but unfortunately it's not in the free-to-play realm. So just a piece of information I wanted to give you. Ignore it if you don't care about it. And yeah, there's so many other things I definitely do want to talk about. I'm trying to think, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But I think I covered a decent portion of all the free-to-play things on how you can get gems really quick to kind of build your account so you can kind of start rocking and rolling. If you definitely did like this, guys, let me know, because I was trying to give as much information as I possibly could. There is a lot of stuff I know for a fact I definitely missed, but I at least gave you a starting ground that you can work with, so you can actually start building some more stuff. You see how I tend to like check the stuff from time to time just to see if something might happen or whatever. But like I said, guys, it's really important to kind of like take care of these vagabonds, take care of the legendary duelists. Before I go, one more parting gift. Sorry, this was super important. Because we've been grinding so long, and also like a piece of information, if you wanted to know how to unlock these worlds, they usually tell you on the right or during the event. It usually deals with getting to a high level in the original Yu-Gi. So perfect example is, I think if I go into Turbo Duel, I'm in that Halloween season, that's why I said it. If I go to event details here on the bottom, it tells you how the world that it's specified gets unlocked. So it says right here, this event is available after unlocking Duel Worlds 5DS. Event missions will be added to the below. Okay. How to unlock Duel Worlds 5DS. So it says blah blah blah. Duo will unlock after receiving the mission reward. Reach stage 9 DM, and that means the original world, the very first world, the one with Yugi, Yami Yugi, and you know all the classics. 9 or above to make the dual world unlock missions appear. So that's how like and most of them are the same. I think it all relies on the main world to unlock those. So then you can basically just go back and forth between all the worlds to start grinding them for the legendary duelists, so on and so forth. And then you can use the mission stages to kind of basically always refill your meter, so you have six chances of them. But because we grinded so much, we build a lot of keys this way, from unlimited event dueling that some have, kind of the PvP is an example of one, but there's better ones than this. But then you get a lot of keys. And when you get a lot of keys, now this is the important from the free-to-play aspect. Depending on what you're trying to accomplish is what level you should go for. I personally feel that level 40 is excessively expensive and not worth it to use. I'm using a ×3 multiplier. I personally always go for an experience grind. So you get more bang for your buck if you always grind level 10 with a potential chance of getting these URs. You can tell right over here, I was grinding a lot on level 10, and I got way more URs than this on this Hatop. For some reason, I'm having no luck on the Ysenjo L, but every other card, I got an excessive amount. I always do batch conversion, and I should probably show you guys that before I leave on how you guys can get some money. But what I always tend to do is I tend to grind on a ×3 multiplier level 10, because this gives you 1500 experience points for just 21 gold keys, which is really awesome. So I'm going to show you really quick. We're going to do this. And the thing here is, when you're doing the legendary duelist grind, you have to manually duel here. So you actually, it's not auto. It's a little bit slower, but you get to get 1500 experience, and it's actually worth it. But the wins are quick for the simple fact that that you don't have to worry about it, because it's not going to be a difficult duel. The health pool of all their monsters are going to be significantly less. So you can always ×3 it, not stress about losing, and then eventually just kill them. Wow. I thought I was gonna have something available for me here.
No monster. Let's
So we're gonna kill this. No, I don't want to.
My monster attack. Go!
That's what those are quick effect the quick effect spell cards which have that lightning. I should do a discussion on that eventually if you guys are curious about it. I definitely would love to give a breakdown on that, but this is a really good introductory free-to-play guide. Oh, look at that. What I'm gonna do is activate. I want Dark Cavalry, you know. I needed one more thing for that.
I know what to do. I fusion summon a monster. I summon a monster. Battle.
Alright.
Realize how powerless you are.
No, I'm not gonna switch his attack to
attacks.
defense, and then that's pretty much it. So over here, you see here now, we're gonna get 15 experience. It would be cool if we got a UR so you guys could see what I'm talking about, where you shouldn't use the excessive stuff. But you get 1,500 experience out of it. It's a good way to grind. It's a good way to conserve keys. It's the more efficient route to, especially when you're doing gem building. Also, it's really nice to do the legendary duelist grind when there's an EXP event that happens. And usually they do this type of event over here if you look at the right side where it says EXP 1.5 campaign, which that means that instead of getting 500 experience, you get 750 experience per duel. So if you multiply this times 3 instead of 5, 10, 15, 1500 experience, you get around, I think it's 2250. I think it's 2,250 experience, which is basically a lot of experience that you get. Like, it's an extra duel in something that you're saving on. So it's really good to use the keys at those events. So if you wanted to conserve till that moment happens, that's awesome. If you didn't and want to continue grinding there, that's also important. The other cool thing to kind of know about here is always visit the trader. It's every 8 hours. In 9 minutes, he's going to reset. And what I'm going to do is I already have all his featured cards and stuff. Unless I'm building something in particular to get 3 cards, like an Aroma Mage deck or something like that. That's the only time I would do that. But I would get one of these cards if I don't have any. And then I go into the regular inventory, which I can't right now to show you guys that. But always buy one of these as well. Whether you want to buy one of the cheap cards, so on and so forth. Just so you're getting cards every 8 hours from the trader. Because he has a lot of cards, guys. So definitely important to keep in mind. And I'm a collector at heart, so I like collecting all of them. And the final piece of information I want to give you guys is when you're grinding a lot of these cards, you need to get a lot of money. So the way you get a lot of money is after you grinded for a few hours and you have like 20 cards of something, 30 cards of something from events, from grinding, just regular standard duelist, whatever it is. What I tend to do is I go into the batch conversion, which I go into this store over here. Hopefully it doesn't kick us. I go to card catalog. I go to batch convert. I put the number 5 because that's the number I feel comfortable with. You could do 3 if you want. And then I say select SR and URs. And this is the amount of money it'll give me for selling all these cards that are excessive. You can see that some I have 7 of, some I have 6, so on and so forth. And then I just convert it. And I'm just saying convert these cards, it's okay. And I have now an extra amount of money that I got. So that's something that I kind of do, guys, when it comes to building funds and all that good stuff. If you did want to see other deck lists, you can go over here. You know, this is a good way to get an idea of some of the decks. This kind of tells you KC Cup 2021. This is how someone got around in first place for it. This is someone in the preliminary getting third. This is someone getting first at some point. Yeah, so on and so forth. So they kind of tell you like what are like really good cards during an event that people were using. If you were kind of curious, some of them might be super expensive, some of them aren't, so it's always good to keep a lookout for it. And then you can also kind of see some deck lists over here. But I wanted to kind of give a free-to-play guide on, especially when you're starting out, what are the ways that you can start building some gems, so on and so forth. I hope you guys found this super insightful. I know it was a long guide. I love you guys tons for it. And definitely show some love, subscribe, follow, join us on Discord, and if you want to see anything specific in the future, let me know and I'll start narrowing it down. I just really want to do one guide that talks about it from a free-to-play aspect, but also is beginner guide to kind of talk about all the ways that you can get gems to kind of help you build your account over time. So then eventually you can kind of be like me, where if you go over here, you see there's a legendary duelist, I'm going to deal with him after, where if you go to the legendary duelist section, yeah, this one has 676 keys, but if I show you another duelist right now, like say here, and I go to this character, I have 6,000 gems, so I could spam him for a very long time and get 1,500 experience repeatedly for 21 keys here, and I have 30,000 here. So I could do that for him. I could do that for him. I wouldn't do it for Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't think. I could do it for her. A lot of ways to kind of spam a lot of experience here to get a lot of things, guys. I know this was a long guide, but I wanted to kind of just do a knowledge dump with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace. Thank you guys so much, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, if this is your first time here and you're watching from YouTube, definitely be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you ever come to Twitch, definitely be sure to hit that follow button. Come join us on Discord. The link is below in the YouTube description. Also, last but not least, I want to say major shout outs to the sponsors. If you guys also wanted to financially support the stream, definitely be sure to check out that YouTube description below. There is a Patreon link. And if you can't support financially, don't worry, guys. There's other ways you can actually show support. That's getting the word out, sharing the content, letting friends and loved ones know about this this channel. Tell them to come and hang out. Come join us on Discord. You will not regret it. It's the best community / family ever. It says it right there on the freaking board. Yo, thank you guys so much for hanging out. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you guys next time. Let me know in the comments below what you would like to see next, what you think about the video, and so on. I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.